Welcome, ladies. Today I'm going to talk to wives about 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Let's take a look at a few of the more significant verses discussed here. Verses 4 to 7. Love is patient, love is kind, and is not jealous. Love does not brag and is not arrogant, does not act unbecomingly. It does not seek its own. It's not provoked, does not take into account a wrong suffered, does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. So here, as a wife, it says that we're to be slow to lose patience. So in other words, we have to tolerate more than we probably personally want to in order to help us find out what's really going on with our husband. And as we're pursuing that, we want to do it with kindness. We want to show him concern for him and not for ourselves. Sometimes I really struggle with that because something happens and I think, uh-oh, how's that going to impact me? When really my husband is struggling very hard to solve an issue or deal with a problem that's very great for him. And he's taking into account the impact on me along with that. So sometimes I have to just patiently back up and kindly pursue what's going on, what are you thinking, where are we going to go from here, when honestly I just want to go, but what about me, and how is this going to affect me? So try to stay focused on what it'll do to your spouse as well, and even more so. Practice manners at home. This is so important. Say please and thank you. When he walks in the door, say hello. That's manners. When you're leaving, say goodbye so he knows you're leaving. All of those things are just common courtesy and manners. Asking what he thinks on something and not asking him with the idea of, well, I'm just being kind, but I'm just going to do whatever I want anyway. But to ask him in a manner of, I'm really interested in your input and what you think and why you think it. That's kindness, that's manners. And then you're focusing on his needs. And his needs are not just, is dinner made and the house cleaned, or this or that. His needs is to have a partner there who really cares about how the world's impacting him. How is he feeling about things? What's going on for him? And to be able to sit down and say, I really care about you today. How can I care for you even more? And just let him tell you. Don't take things personally. Oh my gosh, I know that I used to take things personally all the time. And I think as women we tend to more so than men, even though men can take things personally as well. But I've worked very hard to just sort of say, okay, let me take a deep breath. Maybe his tone of voice has nothing to do with me. Or maybe what he's saying has nothing to do with me. Personalizing everything your spouse says is a form of automatic negative thinking. So you want to kind of pull out of that and find out what's really going on underneath it. Half the time my husband was just complaining about somebody at work, but he was doing it in a tone that made me feel like he was yelling at me. But he really wasn't. He just wanted to get it off his chest. Don't keep a record of his past failures. Now, this is tricky too, because sometimes if people are repeating the same problem over and over and over, you kind of have to say, I think you need to make a change here. But that doesn't mean that you're going after him, and as soon as you guys have an argument, you're throwing in everything in the kitchen sink, including, he bought the wrong kind of ice cream 15 years ago because he just didn't care. Don't bring up those kinds of things. And don't take pleasure in his failures. When I was learning how to transition as a wife from expectations and taking things personally and all of that, I learned also how to tell him when something went wrong with the decision he made. As a lot of wives tell me, I just want him to be the head of the household and the spiritual leader and to make the decisions. But when he does make a decision and it doesn't go well, oh man, they rake that poor man over the coals, so there's no opportunity to just learn from mistakes. So I learned to encourage him and say, yeah, this did not go well. Maybe next time we'll just have to take in more information, but I really trust you to do better and to grow through this. And that helped a lot. And I didn't take pleasure when he failed. I don't take pleasure when he fails. Keep in mind, his failures affect you. So why would you take pleasure in it? Why would you be joyous that he failed when it affects your income, it affects your household, it affects your marriage, it affects your children? There's no pleasure in that, so don't take pleasure in it. And accept his inconsistencies. Hello, human beings, we're inconsistent. So sometimes he might say, oh, I really like this, and then he might say, no, I don't like that anymore, I really like that. Or I'm going to do this way, and then you catch him doing it a different way, and you're like, I thought you were going to do that. So sometimes what's happened is they've not given you all the information in between the change. So they thought this and then they got more information. And always, always find yourself able to believe the best about your husband and that he wants the best for you. I'm Dr. Pauline Dillard, and this has been A Marriage Moment.